wanted to talk a little bit about descending lines and ascending lines, and there's a million of them, and you'll hear them often. And we're playing obviously acoustic guitar today, and whether you're working with a pick or finger picking, and I'm going to do it both ways today. One of the best places to start, I think, is on the G chord, because with the G chord, we've got so many open strings. Whether you play a regular G like this. I'm doing it with my pinky at the moment, which I recommend for this particular thing we're doing, or you can do it that way, which a lot of you do already, or you can include the D note, which is the third on the B. And that's a chimey way to do the G. It's a kind of a magical G chord as well. But regardless of how you play that G chord, I wanted to show you a couple of different really simple moves to hopefully give you some special sauce in your playing, especially if you're changing from, say, a 1-4, maybe a 1-4-5, or 1 to a 6 minor, or even a 1 to a 7, like a G to an F. I'm going to show you how to get there, and it's the getting there that I think is the part that makes our playing more interesting. Most people know how to finger a chord, they know how to play a chord, but getting from one chord to the next, whether you're in a songwriting mode or you're just jamming with friends or whatever, that's the part that seems to elude a lot of people, and that's the part that I think makes our playing more compelling, for sure, more interesting. So let's start with just a basic G chord, okay? And I'm going to go ahead and use my pinky here for this high G note, the 3 on the G, on the E string, sorry. And so if you're here and you want to walk down E minor, that's a pretty basic move. So all I'm doing really is I'm just going just 3, 2, open. So that works in a more of a folkloric kind of way. And that's especially more of a strum thing with a pick, right? You get a lot of mileage out of just that. I did there, I just picked up the F sharp note. There's a 2 on the low E. Right? Now I'm already thinking of songs that, just with that little bit, I thought I was thinking of the Kinks. Well, she loves to work on Valentine. There's no way to stay. And it's all so good. And it's all so fine. That's a well-respected man by the Kinks. So it's funny with just those little walkdowns that can sometimes bring to mind a really cool song. And there's, of course, a million of them. I mean, Friend of the Devil is one I think of too. But now if I want to expand on that a little bit more, and I want to try and keep this lesson simple. I don't want to get, sometimes this stuff gets away from you and people write in and they say, it's good stuff, but I'm just getting going on guitar, and for me to follow all that fancy stuff is just, it's all too much, from no bandwidth, right? So I'm going to try and keep this really simple for you and just say that once we've got this move down, really in slow motion, to an E minor, that still sounds pretty darn good to me. If you want to walk it up, slow motion. Okay. Now let's say if you want to get a little more involved with it. Now I'm going to keep it basically simple today, but I'm gonna show you a few voicings that are a little more advanced, but I think it'll be worth the effort if you try and get with it, because this way it's gonna sound like this. Rather than fingering that high G with my pinky, I'm gonna go ahead and finger the 3rd fret on the B string, and and this is gonna work because anytime you hear one note ringing out over changes, I think it's a cool sound. Later. That's a nice sound, isn't it? What am I thinking of? I'm thinking of Landslide by Fleetwood Mac. It just takes you there. It's cool. So what I'm doing is I've got my pinky on the 3rd fret of the B string, okay, right here. And then I'm just spelling out a G chord as I had before. Now I'm not going to worry about the high E for the moment, okay? And I'll tell you why in a second. So the second move is a little bit of a stretch for some of you, but yet it's not that hard. All you're going to do is take your 2nd finger and put it on the 2nd fret of the low E string. And your 3rd finger will be on the 2nd fret of the G string. Now your pinky is going to stay the same throughout this exercise. It's not going to go anywhere. So you'll be glad to know that maybe. So it'd be, and then an open E, 7th, E minor 7th. See? So you got that note ringing out. And for my money, that's a pretty darn simple way to take it from basically a more of a folk sound to a little more refined, a little more complex harmonics. Now, to take that one step further, as long as I've got you here, and I'm going to leave it on this part, I'm going to try it fingerstyle now and give you an example of what it sounds like putting the pick down, because you're going to get a different sound when you do that. I mean, for one thing, in this case, it's skin on strings with ever slight bit of nail on it. And I've talked about that a lot in lessons. That's the tonality. I love the richness of that sound. You can get, I can get an articulation if I want. That's the reason for the slight little bit of, but generally I prefer the sound of, to me that just has a really rich, round sound to it. So what am I doing there? Well, if you watch any of my finger picking lessons, and you can find them all at jimmydillon.com, there's a ton of them. And I talk about how to play fingerstyle and how all the different pinches and Travis picking and all that kind of stuff. And it's all available, actually all over YouTube it is. But what I want to do, rather than go into that right now, I'm just going to give you the basic. So what exactly am I doing there? I'm coming down on my low G note on the E. Then I'm jumping to the D string, open D string. Got that? Both down on the thumb. Then I'm taking my 3rd finger here, my ring finger, or sorry, my 3rd finger, right here. 2nd finger, I'm sorry. 2nd finger, 1st finger, 2nd finger, hello. Thumb and 2nd finger, so thumb, low G note, thumb, D string. Now come up with the B string, which is the D note, and then 1st finger on the G string, and then back down with the thumb on the D string. So in slow motion, it would sound like this, really slow. It sounds kind of a little janky like that, but see if you can play that along with me. And the next move, as I said, we're going to take our 2nd finger and put it on the 2nd fret of the low E, which is an F sharp note. And then we're going to pick up, we're still going to keep that pinky on that note. It doesn't move, remember. Then we're going to pick up the 2nd fret on the G string. Same pattern, same exact pattern. Down, down, up, up, down. So far we've got this. You with me? One more time, really slow. Final move, E minor 7th, just play that E minor chord, and again, leave that pinky right where it's at. Same pattern exactly, same strings are struck with the right hand. Down on the E, down on the D string, up on the B, up on the B, on the G, this case, of course, you're fingering a note. It's part of the E minor chord. So that one goes. And then right up to the second one again. That one we already know because we just did it, right? So there's only 3 moves, 1, 2, 3, and then 3 up. So it sounds like in slow motion, it would sound like this. That makes sense to you? I hope it does. Now I'm doing it really slowly because I think what I found out in teaching is it's so important to move slowly and break it down. And I got a lot of people telling me that over time. It's like, dude, you know, it's great that you can play and then, you know, you can do this, that, and the other thing, but we need it made really, really clear and easy for us. And then we can take it at places, right? And I think that's really true for me too. If I can get something slowly first, and I recommend practice it slowly, don't try to rush through it, okay? So now I'm gonna give you an example of what can be done with these changes, okay? I'm gonna blow a little sunshine on this one, but don't worry about that. But the reason I do that is to inspire you guys to say, oh, so if I get the basics down, I can eventually go to some you know, more complex stuff. So I'll start out slow and see where this takes us. You want to really get that groove going. You got to set the groove. Tapping my foot. Now I'm going to put a little tempo on it. Pretty good sound. So that's some of the magic you can do with just adding a little bit of finger picking, the down, down, up, up, down thing. Man, it's so much fun to get into. So if you can only do it on a pick, that's just fine. Nothing wrong with that either. You want to just like strum it. And there's a real place for that. Sometimes like a Neil Young song. Not always a finger picking thing, but sometimes it is. And there's the song for you right there. So hope you enjoyed that, and let me know what you guys are interested in. I'd love to pass on whatever I know to you. That's why I'm here. Okay, we'll see you down the road.